Good morning, 501 SWG 501 week 4 wrap up. Hope everybody is enjoying their summer thus far. Only 18 degrees or something like that this week. Anyways, hi everybody. Hope that things are progressing. Weekly wrap up. Wanted to do some quick housekeeping first. So, got your papers working, your final project. I hope that those are coming along. Absolutely, everybody should be through their interviews at this point. You should be at the spot where, honestly, last week, like I had said, you should have sketched out. You should be working on a rough draft at this point. If not getting to the end of it, somewhere in the middle. If you're not there, please reach out to me. Let me know what I can do to assist. Also, as you're getting through your rough draft, if you're finished and you have questions about the formatting or anything along those lines, remember that there's the ASU Writing Center. Okay, the folks there are extremely knowledgeable, extremely helpful, and I'm also glad to spot check as needed for you if you reach out to me with specific questions. So please utilize us. Don't wait till the last minute. Let's see what else on that. Rough draft. Yeah. Okay. So one thing that I want to go over with you on the paper, I am going to suggest to you, for your benefit and my benefit, that you really focus on your organization. Okay. So when you're formatting, you're probably gonna have like a lot of stuff, and you're gonna be like, where do I put all this? Follow the rubric. Like really pull the rubric out, look at it, and then in the section with your biopsychosocial, it's pretty natural categorization. One thing I'm going to be looking for, just like, is why we practice with this on the midterm, I'm going to be looking for specific categorization of biological, psychological, and social, and possibly spiritual factors in the child's assessment in your paper to see how you did that. The organization is key. So really concentrate on that. Good headings for different sections instead of one big, blah assessment really is going to make your paper flow better. And it's going to make it look organized. And it's going to show me that you're thinking about what's going where and organizing, because that's the skill set that you're going to need someday down the road when you're actually doing a biopsychosocial and you're having to input all these factors into biopsychosocial intake for a mental health entity. So, okay, back on week 4 quickly. I wanted to chat on the discussion question. I loved reading your discussion questions this week. There's a lot of really good insight. Just so y'all know, birth to 5 mental health is one of my specialty areas. I'm for where I work at Arizona's Children's Association, I'm our statewide chair of our birth to 5 committee and statewide organizational piece, where basically, so I'm in charge of the oversight of systemically how a lot of our birth to 5 mental health is adhered. We have a very, very large contract working throughout the state. So, huge passion area for me. I've been involved with birth to 5 for some years now. I love birth to 5 because I think that birth to 5 is sort of that hybrid between intervention and prevention. Okay, and I love both of those things, and I feel like early intervention is key in working with kids and families, because we also work with folks down the road. We work with middle, kids in early and middle childhood, which you'll be reading about this week, and teens who had good birth to 5 work been done, we wouldn't have been working with these folks at all. These families would be functioning on a different level. These kids, their development would be on par. All those things. So I like to see problems solved early so that they're not problems down the line. So that's one piece of why I love birth to 5. Another piece why I love birth to 5 is because I have a huge passion area for family systems work. Okay, so in your discussion this week, I saw lots of really, really good insight, and a couple people really sort of started dancing around it, and only maybe I think one, Lilia, I believe, really hit the nail on the head in terms of birth to 5 being inherently family systems, right? Back to the questions we had about the dyad. Why is this so important to think about? Think about the dyad, and someone had mentioned, I think in Vanessa, in the discussion this week already, that you can't ever think about a young child, an infant, toddler, in isolation. That they exist in the dyad, they exist in the family system, okay? And that therapeutically, that's how we go about working with them, okay? So in order to work with a child, we work with the parent, right? We change, we look to change, we empower to change, we utilize strengths to change patterns that underlie causes of behaviors and dysfunction, really, okay? It's everything. I'm telling you, it's the key to sustainable change is looking systemically. So, huge passion area for me, and I think a lot of you danced around that, and I just wanted to make sure and get back to that. So, a lot of folks pointed out some sort of direct interventions that we utilize with younger kids, and those have their place as well. A lot of times, though, I would say that they're not necessarily direct interventions that we utilize with birth to 5 as much as a means of assessment, okay? And why do we utilize means of assessment? In order to then move back towards systems work. And when I say working with the family, remember that I mean the family in the larger sense, okay? As in, I might not be talking about, necessarily a biological mom or a biological dad or anything. Maybe we're talking about the current foster arrangement, or maybe we're talking about kinship placement. There's lots of different possibilities there. Regardless, the family system that child is involved in is their everything, and I just want to make sure to get back to that. Okay, so moving into week 5, pretty straightforward this week. We got early childhood and middle childhood units, really looking at the developmental norms and understanding sort of what's typical in those developmental periods. Important to understand that so that we can recognize what our ranges of development look like, so we can recognize when it's not happening, and be a good social worker in understanding that, knowing a little bit about the pieces there, in order to be able to point that out and refer for help as needed when that's not happening. Because there's a whole lot we can do when kids aren't meeting developmental norms, when they're not functioning as they should socially. There's a whole lot we can do, but in order to do anything at all, we have to recognize it. So that's why we're studying that. So like I said, pretty straightforward this week. We're on the downhill slide here, folks. Only a couple weeks left, week and a half really till everything's due. Be cognizant of those due dates coming up. You've got your final exam coming up in week 6, so that's the following week after this, as well as having your papers due. So this all moves really quickly. I told you it would. I know it's a lot. I hope that you're putting what you need into it in order to really be getting something out of this. There's lots of really, really good information here. Again, as always, please reach out to me, email, text, call, smoke signals, whatever you need to do to get a hold of me. I want to make sure that you're getting everything that you need to be successful in this class. So that's what I got. Thank you all for everything that you do. Excited to have you folks joining the social work world. We'll check in next week. In the meantime, let me know. Thanks, everyone.